Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. So in today's session, we'll be continuing with the leaf modification. In my last session, we have discussed about up to the phyllotaxy of the leaves. So for your convenience and ease, I'm directly giving the information from NCERT. So I'm even focusing the NCERT material, NCERT information also, so that there will not be any confusion when you read the textbook. That is my intention. So other than the NCERT points as required, I'm going to discuss some extra points also. So first modification of the leaves are tendrils. So tendrils can be considered as a long coiled structures, and these are sensitive structures. They are sensitive structures. Sensitive means these are useful in climbing and they are sensitive to touch. So when they get a support, they get attached to the support and they climb, coil around the support. That is the main purpose of a tendril. So they are useful in climbing. So this function can be called as, it is a mechanical function. And which type of plants it is present? It is normally developed in the plants having weak stems. Plants with weak stems, they generally develop tendrils because they have to get a mechanical support. Now for example, in case of P. So P here, as we have seen in the diagram, here we can find in the P there is a compound leaf present in a P. We find a compound leaf, pinnately compound leaf. We have earlier discussed the types of leaves. So in P we find pinnately compound leaf, and the terminal leaflets, this way terminal leaflets are modified to tendrils. Terminal leaflets. So P shows pinnately compound leaf. So that is the example of tendrils. Now the second one we can find here, spines for defense as in cactus. So let us see what exactly we understand by spines. So spines are defensive structures. So how we define spines as, these are the sharp pointed woody structures. Sharp pointed and woody structures, and main purpose is these are defensive in function. They help in protecting the plant. How they defend the plant? Against any herbivorous animals. And another function of spines is, like for example, the example given here is cactus. The scientific name of cactus is Opuntia. We all know in Opuntia, the modification the stem modification is also found. The stem modification is called as a phylloclade. So this plant is a xerophytic plant. So here leaves are completely reduced to spines. So we find like this, the plant we find, the leaves are completely here reduced to spines. All of you have must seen the cactus. This is how we find, and here all the leaves in cluster they are found, where each one, if we observe each one, this is how we find at one place there will be many groups of spines are present. These group of spines are actually modified leaves, and this group can be spines or hair-like. This group is named as areole. So areole is the name given to the cluster of spines, or sometimes they may be modified to hair-like structures also, like for example in cactus. So it is all leaves in cactus are modified into spines. So main purpose here is to, in cactus, it is to reduce transpiration. It is to reduce transpiration. This is the purpose in case of cactus. Sometimes like in other plants it can be also defensive in function. So that is the second modification. See, the third one we find here, we can easily read, I hope you can. The fleshy leaves of onion and garlic store food material. So what are these called as? So let us see. The fleshy leaves which store food material, here these are called as storage leaves. They are called as storage leaves. So what is the example of storage leaves we can give? We give the example of storage leaves as example onion and garlic. In onion and garlic, it is the scale leaves which store food material. Scale leaves store food material. So we know onion and garlic, there is a modification. Bulb also is present. So bulb is an underground stem modification. So in onion we find the bulb is developed due to storage of food material, and it consists of stored scale leaves. From the lower side of the stem, adventitious roots will develop, and upper side of the stem, scale leaves, they store food material, and they extend aerially to form the leaves. These are called as photosynthetic leaves, will be developed above. So in garlic or even in onion, it is the which one they store? It is the scale leaves which store food material. So such leaves are called as a storage leaves because they help in storage of food material. Now let us go to the next modification. Yes, the next modification, Australian acacia, the leaves are small and short-lived. Petiole in the plant is expanded. It expand and become green and synthesize food material. So here this modification, we call it as this is the fourth modification. This modification is named as phyllodes. It is named as phyllodes. So phyllodes, how do we define? Phyllodes is a leaf modification where here the part of the leaf here, lamina is highly reduced in these plants. So phyllodes is only the petiole. Petiole is modified for photosynthesis. Petiole is modified for photosynthesis. Rest of the lamina will fall off because it has to reduce transpiration. This is also found in xerophytes. This is a xerophytic adaptation to reduce transpiration. Example as given, Australian acacia. So how we find here is, in Australian acacia we find it is a bipinnate compound leaf. Now what is the bipinnate compound leaf? So this is a rachis. Rachis will divide further. These are the branches of rachis. On the branches of rachis, leaves are present. Then it is called as a bipinnate compound leaves. Now what happens? This is the petiole. This part of the petiole, this will develop into a leaf-like structure. This is called as a phyllodes. This leaf-like structure developed by the petiole is called as a phyllodes. Now, after the phyllodes is formed, rest of the leaf which is present, it simply falls off. It will not remain because it has to reduce transpiration. Rest of the leaf will fall off. It is only the phyllodes will remain. Phyllodes do not have stomata, so they cannot perform transpiration. So, and thus they can reduce loss of water. So, phyllodes also is a xerophytic adaptation. Now, let us see the next one, fifth modification. So, what do you find here? Leaves of certain insectivorous plants such as pitcher plant, Venus flytrap are also modified leaves. So, what are these modified leaves which are found in insectivorous plants called as? This modification is named as trap leaves. This modification is named as trap leaves. So, where are these trap leaves present? They are found in insectivorous plants. Now, why it should develop in insectivorous plants? What is the reason why they should develop leaf modification to trap insect? Because these plants, they grow in Nitrogen deficient soils. Grow in nitrogen deficient soils. So in order to get nitrogen, these leaves are modified to trap insects. They trap insects and digest only the protein. They can digest only a protein by secreting a proteolytic enzyme. A protein can be digested by secreting a proteolytic enzyme. So only they can digest a protein. Remaining part will be eliminated. So that is the modification. Now for example, if we take, there are examples given like pitcher plant and Venus flytrap. We will see in bit detail about the pitcher plant. Let's see about the pitcher plant. So examples are pitcher plant, which is scientifically called as Nepenthes, and another example, Venus flytrap. This is also common name. Its scientific name is Dionia. So in pitcher plant we find the leaves. So here what happens is, yes, here in trap leaves, like for example in Nepenthes, we can find this part. This part is called as a phyllodes. Phyllodes is modified from the petiole, lower part of the petiole. Phyllodes is modified from the lower part of the petiole. Similarly, the upper part of petiole, this is upper part of petiole, that is modified into a tendril. So lower part is modified into a petiole is modified into phyllodes, which is phyllodes already we have done here. Phyllodes are for photosynthesis. So here also a part of petiole is modified for photosynthesis. You can find a pitcher plant also, pitcher plant diagram we can find. You refer to the Telugu Academy textbooks, also you can find in the textbooks. So here this is how we can find modification. So part of petiole modified into leaf-like structure, phyllodes. The other part of petiole, upper part of petiole, is modified into tendril, which is for climbing. Now this part is called as a pitcher, which is modified from the lamina. Lamina is modified into a pitcher. Pitcher means what? Pot-like structure. And this is a lid which is modified from the apex. Now the insect get easily trapped here. It comes towards the pitcher. It gets easily trapped. And this part of the pitcher will have digestive glands. Digestive glands will be present within the pitcher. These are the digestive glands. So these digestive glands will secrete proteolytic enzyme. They secrete proteolytic enzyme and then the protein part will be digested. That's how they can absorb the protein part and remaining part will be eliminated. So this is the mechanism in case of the trap leaves. And what is that proteolytic enzyme? Proteolytic enzyme which is formed here. Proteolytic enzyme which is formed here is, this is the called as a pepsin hydrochloric acid, because it can function only in the hydrochloric acid, acidic pH. So the bottom of the pitcher actually will have the hydrochloric acid. So this is one. Now there is still another leaf modification which we will do. Yes, there is another leaf modification called as a reproductive leaves. Like for example, we find reproductive leaves in example Bryophyllum. Example is Bryophyllum. In Bryophyllum, we find in the leaves of Bryophyllum, these type of margins are present. Such margins, so this is how the margins of the leaf will be present, rounded margins. Such margins of the leaves are called as a crenate margin. Crenate is what? The type of margin present. Type of margin is called as a crenate margin. Now, in the margin, these are called as a notches. This part is called as a notch. Notch means some small constriction or it becomes narrow. So, in these notches, the vegetative buds will develop. So, these are the vegetative buds. So, when these vegetative buds fall off, they can give rise to a new plant. And thus, these leaves are helping in vegetative propagation, and these leaves are reproductive leaves, and the buds which are formed, these buds are called as epiphyllous buds. Because they are formed on the leaves, these are called as epiphyllous buds. So, epiphyllous buds, where are they present? In the crenate margin of the leaves in case of bryophyllum. Okay, so I think that's all we complete with the leaf modifications. In my next session, we are going to continue the chapter with the inflorescence. Thank you for listening. Please share to your all. First, subscribe those who are listening to my video for the first time, and share to all your friends and all the students you know, those who are aspiring to write the NEET 2024. So, thank you very much.